foremost, I want everybody here to understand something about this. I am here for you, okay? I am here to serve you. This is not about me. You will not see any ego from me. That has no place in a learning environment. I came here to share, like the 5 mentors that I had that shared with me over the years. I was lucky enough to be passed amongst these people through my career as a barber, okay? I started, like many of you, probably early. I started when I was 12 years old. My daddy took my hairline back, and I don't know if you know, but that's the worst thing you possibly ever do to somebody. People are really scarred about that right now. If you bring it up, a man be like, don't do that, don't do that. Okay, that causes that causes a lot of frustration with us. So I started looking and trying to find somebody to do the haircut that I wanted so bad, which was a bald fade back in those days. Had a little slope in the front right there, you know. And I went looking for it. He sent me to some guy. He was an older guy. He couldn't do it. And I was like, man, I'm still trying to find this. And then one day, I saw this guy walking around with a haircut that I really wanted. And I was like, where you get that at? And he told me about this guy named Gerald, okay? And Gerald, he said, you got to go down to the Douglas block. And that's a little area in my town from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So I went on the search for Gerald. So I went down, and I went to the Douglas block, and I walked in, and it was packed in there like this, right? And it was 5 barber chairs. It was 4 barbers. The old man up front was working, and Gerald was working. That was the only people that were in there working. And it was all these people, and I'm like, wow, how long is this gonna take? And I went in, I sat down, and after a while, I heard something say, next. Then a few minutes, next. Then a few more minutes, next. I was like, wow, what? I started clocking, and I was like, hold on, what is he doing? How is he? And I mean, he's coming out fresh. I'm talking about buck, clean line, no frizzies, ball fade, beautiful work. And they're just walking out of there like that. So I started clocking, and he was doing them at 10 minutes, some 8. And I was like, how in the world? So the rotation started flowing. Then finally I got in that chair, and I got up and got my turn, and I sat down in that chair, and I got up. When he gave me that mirror, I was like, oh! You know, that moment when the light comes on, right? So I got that fresh fade, and I began to go there every week. We used to have ball games on Friday. I didn't play ball, of course, by the height you can tell, but I like to go, okay? So I would show up every Thursday and get my hair freshly cut. And I just liked the atmosphere in there. And I liked how people were, you know, really gravitating towards Gerald. You know, Gerald, what you think about this? And what you think about that? And what's up for the day? And what's up going on this weekend? And it was just a great environment. People were already laughing and talking and having fun and talking about stuff going on. And it was just a wonderful environment. So I began to really, you know, it began to call me, because this is my calling, truly. And I began to say, wow, this is nice. So I would end up every week sitting in the broke chair on the end like this, watching Gerald. But he was so fast, and he was moving the arm on the side, I couldn't even tell what he was doing, right? But he was moving the adjustable on the side so fast I couldn't see what he was doing. So I would just sit there and watch. So after a month and about a week, he finally looked over at me and said, oh, so you want to learn how to cut hair? Yeah, what you think I'm sitting there looking at you every week for? Yeah. So he began to slow down just enough to show me some things. And I would get what I got there, and I would run home, and my mom had a little den that was, now I'm going to show you how old I am again. It had paneling up, okay? They was closing it in, it was a garage, right? And they had put the paneling up, but it still had concrete on the floor. And I went and found a office chair from the neighbor who was throwing a chair out in the back, in the house behind us, that had a broke wheel on it. So I took all the, I went, can I get this? Sure, baby, it don't work, but you can have it. I took it, went in there, took the wheels off, put it on some bricks, and that was my barbershop. Okay. And I began to cut my homeboys and people in the neighborhood a lot, you know. So back then, you know, it was, you know, everybody wanted to be like Mike back then, right? And there was this guy, I can't even remember what his name is, and that might pop into my mind. But they thought he was gonna be the new Mike, right? They called him Baby Jordan, as a matter of fact. And of course that didn't happen, as you can tell. But this guy was, you know, he was supposed to be Baby Jordan. So they started calling me Baby Gerald. So I thought I was a man different. Okay. And I used to practice and practice and practice. And I got better, and I got better, and I got better. And then I went off to college, because barber school was full. It was a 2-year waiting list, and I couldn't get in because I knew from then, I mean, at 12, I knew I wanted to be a barber. I would have never went to college had they not had the waiting list. But I got into school, got into college, and I was doing well, and I was working out of my dorm room. I had the same setup in the dorm room, and I used to cut people in there, and I got good, so people started coming in off the street, like, get a haircut, right? So one day, I got a certified letter from the barbershop across the street called Barbershop, still there. And they was like, look, if you don't stop trying to steal all our customers, we're going to send the board over there, right? So about a week later, 2 weeks later, a good friend of my dad's, a hunting partner of his, he got me in barber school because he was in, and he carried a little weight up there, and the guy called me, and he was like, hey, you can get in. And I was like, I did a Kanye West. I didn't drop out. I was out of there, okay? And I went to barber school, okay? And it was a hell of a journey, I'm gonna be honest with you, because a lot of people, you just get your money, you go to college. But, I had a bunch of twists and turns. I won't go into all of that. But, long story short, it made me a better barber because I learned how to cut. The barber school I went to, I learned how to cut. It was one of the main barber schools for curly hair. But then I ended up going to Spring Lake, North Carolina, which is close to another military base, Fort Bragg, and Pope Air Force Base, and I learned how to cut straight hair there. So now I use what Gerald gave me, and I use what my other mentors gave me, and I developed some systems for that cut curly and straight hair well. So, because most people get boxed in, to be honest with you. If you went to a school that taught mostly straight hair, guess what? Curly hair walks in, everybody get tight, and vice versa, the same way. Okay. So these techniques that I'm going to teach I learned, and they work well on straight or curly hair, so you won't get boxed in on that. Okay. So again, I'm here because of them and what they shared with me. So when I come do these, it's not about anything other than me doing what they did for me, and that's sharing with you. So there's no such thing as a dumb question whatsoever. Please, please, please don't ever hold back from me that, because I guarantee somebody else wants to know anyway. Okay? Please ask. I want to make sure I answer that for you. I want to leave everything on the floor when I leave here, so please absorb whatever I can. You all are professionals just like myself. So I know you know some stuff. So some of this stuff, you already know it. But just ride with me, because I guarantee you there's some things that have been left out, not spoken about, not told,